Could you please tell us more about the Pandyas, Cholas, and other dynasties who spread Hinduism and Indian culture throughout Southeast Asia? That is a great question. So, I have repeatedly spoken about the Cholas. Now, let me introduce a different dynasty because there are other dynasties as well. For example, before the Cholas, it was the region of Kalinga, which is present day Orissa, mostly, which actually had a great deal of influence in Southeast Asia. So, for example, in Asia, and for example, in Orissa, Orissa has a very ancient maritime history, a maritime culture that dates back almost 3,000 years before today, right? So you must have heard of the Bali Yatra, right? Bali Yatra, which is celebrated every year in Orissa, which commemorates the maritime trade of the people of Kalinga, the ancient maritime trade of the people of Kalinga in the in Indonesia and in Southeast Asia, specifically Bali, because it is mentioned by name, Bali Yatra. So what happened was that you had these maritime merchant mariners from Kalinga who were called the Sadabas, and they would go on these long voyages on ships called boitas, and they have been doing this for almost 3,000 years. It's a very ancient tradition in Orissa, in Kalinga, right? So even today, you have a festival in Orissa which is called Boita Bandana, which marks the day that these merchants, these traders, would leave for Southeast Asia. It is still commemorated today. And nobody in India knows about this because none of our history textbooks will mention this, right? So Kalinga had a great maritime uh, tradition, and it has great, very ancient ties with Southeast Asia, and you can see the influences even today. There are these classical dances in Southeast Asia, especially Cambodia, Bali, etc., which have a great deal of influence from Odissi dance, right? Odissi is one of India's major classical dances. In my opinion, it is the most graceful of all of India's classical dances. So you see the influence of the Odissi style of classical dance across Southeast Asia, especially places like Cambodia, etc. So that's very interesting. So that demonstrates the ancient cultural ties between Kalinga and Southeast Asia. So before the Cholas, it was the people of Kalinga who started these contacts, and it may go back even further, even before that. And one of the most important examples of this is that the founder of the Funan kingdom in present day Cambodia was a person from Kalinga, Kondinya the First. He was the founder of the Funan kingdom in Cambodia. So this Funan kingdom was in present day Cambodia and parts of Yunnan, etc. He married a local princess who became his queen, Queen Soma, and his capital was Vyadapura in present day Cambodia. And he is the founder of the Funan kingdom. So this ancient history of Orissa, of Kalinga, went on until the 16th century, just 400, 500 years ago. It finally declined with the decline of the Gajapati Empire of Orissa. The Gajapati Empire encompassed present day Orissa, parts of present day Bengal, most of Andhra Pradesh, and parts of Tamil Nadu as well. So, that's the story of Orissa. And the initial Indian influences that we know of in Southeast Asia. So this is the beginning of the contacts and the beginning of the genetic influx of Indian genes into Southeast Asia, and the influx of Indian culture into Southeast Asia, because this was a uh, peaceful interchange and exchange and basically relationship, at least during the Kalinga times. It was only during the Chola times that the military conquests of Southeast Asia happened, at least that we know of. So that's, in brief, the story of how Indian culture and Indian religious traditions and Indian genetics made their way across Southeast Asia. It starts with Kalinga. So we keep on talking about the Cholas. Now people know about the Cholas, that the Cholas had this vast empire, maritime empire. But one must not forget the seminal contribution, the pivotal contribution of Kalinga in actually starting this process. So that is something we need to remember. It's very important and very significant.